share screen. Okay, let it be. Once they comes up, they'll get to know. Okay. Okay, guys, let's start the sessions to today. So till yesterday we have discussed like how to create a class and how to create an object and how to create a constructor, right? Like so we have seen the syntaxes and like what is the use of the constructor as well. So constructor means like just to initiate the instance variables, just like to create the instance variables only we use this purpose. So so when the constructor will execute means like at the time of object creation. So no need to call this constructor specifically, but at the time of object creation, it will directly create the constructor, or it's like it will call the constructor. Now we have seen that we have multiple types of variables, right? Now let's first we'll discuss about the instance like variables, then we'll go with the methods what we have. See here, we have multiple three types of variables. So once if we defined a class, that means we created a class, then we can define three types of variables inside the class. So now let's see. So what first is instance level, that is object level variables. Now static variables, that is class level variables. And the last one is local variable. This one is already, you know, right, in the function, right? We have seen the global and local, right? This is the same one, local variables. Now we'll discuss about these two. So instance variable. So if the value of a variable is changing from object to object, such type of variables is called instance variables. Okay, let's see. First of all, I would like so from today onwards, I'll just use this notepad, guys, notepad plus plus instead of notepad, because here you can see the color changing everything. Class and then maybe does it looks good? Okay. Once again, let me change the style configuration. I think now it's better. Yeah. I'm going to take employee. So he is one class employee. Now as soon as just click on, so is it not coming indentation? Okay, let me give. Okay, now need to create the constructor init. So self is a predefined parameter, so don't need to pass anything inside of that. Now self dot variable equal to var. So now suppose here, see, I'm just giving one variable. This is just like normal variable to this one, but I'm just converting that into normal variable to instance variable, because this one I need to use in the other methods, right? So that's why. So here I'm just going to create one instance method, that is my function one. And inside of that, we have to create again one more self, that is like a default parameter. So no need to pass anything. Now I will use this print statement to print the self dot var. This now we simply created one class and one constructor and one instance method. I'm going to create an object equals to anything, it could be not only this one. Let me change to result, so it could be object. Now how to call a class? Now simply automatically you have to give the parentheses as well, because if you forget this one, now it will be assigned this class name to this variable. Now if I give this parenthesis, now it will be object. This result will be object. Instead earlier it was a variable, now it will be object. Now here in the constructor, how many variables we have? Only one, right? So for that, this constructor will be executed at the time of object creation. Here the object is creating. So now here we need to pass some values. So here I'll just give on this one. So instead of only this one, I'll give this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. So I'm one list I'm giving. So now how to now till now we have seen that we just simply created the call and created the object, and this constructor also will execute it because we created the object. Now how to call this instance method? So using object dot, now everything, see now this is the class, right? In the class we have function as well as the method, some other variables might be there. So everything will be inside of this one. Now everything will be inside of this one. Now to call or like use any other things like functions or like variables, we have to use object dot, then automatically sometimes it depends on the Python. If you go with the Visual Studios, it will display here itself what are the variables or function names we have here. Now what is the function name? My function of. So what is the second file? See, it is printing. So earlier what sorry, what I have done is simply here created one class and with one constructor, one instance method. See, instance method, we are just initializing the variable in the constructor. So this is one way. So instead of constructor, we can initialize. That means we can create instance variable directly in this instance method as also. Let's see how it means. Self dot, because that is the by default parameter, right? Self dot var equals to, now see, here we're not passing anything. So here simply just use some variable. Now this variable will be, see, now this is just like normal variable. Now this is like instance variable. So we can initialize two types, I like it, two ways. One is using constructor or else like instance method to create the instance variables. So one more thing, this one is not because we don't have any constructor, right? So here you don't need to give this one here now. But this function accepts one parameter. See, apart from self, we have declared one variable. So while calling the function, we have to specify the parameter. So these are the two ways we can create the instance variable. But one thing, guys, just remember, whenever you're creating any instance variables, suppose in your class, you might have multiple instance methods, right? That time we can't create the same instance variable in the different methods. So what we'll do, we'll just simply use constructor. Now we can use the same variable into multiple instances. Suppose let me create this one. For now, I'll just remove this. So now here I'm just creating one instance, and here I'm going to create one more instance method with this different name. It is 2. Now see, here I declared only once, but I can use this instance variable in multiple methods. So that's why this is the use of this constructor. Something I messed up. Oh, sorry. Is guys are joining now? Okay, something weird. Yeah. See, we created the constructor. That's why we're creating, while creating the object itself, we have to pass some variable. Now CLS, now call the function. Now it is working. See, it's printing both. So okay, here I called only one function. Now if I call the same another function also, it will print the same variable. See, instance variable, this is the use of that. So constructor, we can use to instance the instance variables. We can use that into multiple methods. So this is about instance variables, guys. So now two ways we can declare. So either we can constructor or directly inside the instance method itself. This is about instance variables, guys. And one more thing, guys. Every time, suppose here I have created one object, right? For the same class, I can create one more object. So result one. Now this is one more result. This. So let me change that into, instead of list, I'll use string, guys. Now let me call this same methods here, but using this above object. See, for this single class, we can create n number of objects. Just remember that point. So for one class, we can create n number of objects. So every time, if you want to change the values using different results, if you want to get, so we can create the objects like this. So this is completely one object, and this is completely another object. See, it is printing twice. This one using this function, using this variable, it is printing twice. And after that, I'll change the parameter here. So hello, this one, see, we are just printing that. Getting my point, right? See, we can create n number of objects for single class. And see this one, what is the use of instance? If value of a variable, this one, value of a variable is changing object to object, that we can use these instance variables. So if you want to change the instance variable every time, we can create multiple objects the same way like this. It's clear, right? So now we can create multiple objects for a single class also. So we can declare and initialize. That means declare and initialize creating the instance variable in following ways. That is constructor we have done that, instance method also we have seen. Now the next most important one is static or class level variable, guys. Now see this one. First just we'll discuss about the theory, then we'll go for practical. If the value of a variable is not changing from object to object, such type of variables is called static variables or class level variables. So we can declare static variables directly within the class and outside of the constructor and methods. So once we create a static variable in class level, then that variable will be shared with all our objects. Now let's see. Suppose, yeah. For now, I'll just comment this object, guys. I don't want. One thing I see. Here we created one instance variable, right? Now I can call that instance method also here using result dot. What is that variable? See this one. So how getting means like instance variables we can call using object also. What is the variable here? We're just passing in the constructor variable, right? This one we can call it as like here also in instance method also we can print, and here other instance method we can print, but using object also we can print the same variable. Now let's see about static variables, how to create that. Yeah. For now, I'll just comment this complete class, guys. Comes to next line. Yeah. These guys are coming on like whenever they require. Yes. Yeah. See now about static variables. We have seen how to create this instance variable, right? Now let's see about static variables. See here, I'm just going to create one class. My class. I'm just taking like this is a class name on colon. So after that, we have to give indentation here. That one was telling. See this one. Once we can declare static variables directly within the class and outside of the constructor and method. That means here itself. So here I'm just taking one variable equal to hello guys. So now this is one variable has assigned one value that is called static variable or class level. See this one class. So inside of the class we are declaring one variable. This is called class variable or static variable, guys. Now let me create one instance method for now. I'm not going to create any constructor because I don't want to create instance variables. Simply I need to create one instance method, and how to access this variable, this class level variable, how can I print that one in the instance method. Let's see here function, my function one. I'm just taking one. Wherever you write any instance method, self is the by default parameter. You should give that. If you forget that, it will throw error. I'll show you that message as well. See now I'm just trying to print, guys. Now earlier you guys remember while creating the functions, when we create the global variables, we are giving some variable equal to, after that we're creating one function, right? So inside the function we're simply calling that. Suppose if you give any suppose let me show you here itself, var equal to hi f function. So we can print like this, right, directly. This is about global variable, right? The same way here you see, same way we're writing, but this one we're declaring this variable inside the class, that is called class level variables. But here we simply calling this method, that is like calling this variable, how that is global variable. Now see this one. Here we need to use my class. What is the class name here? My class, right? My class dot, what is the variable? Var. So this is how you need to call the, or else like print any class level variables. Now I'm going to create my object equals to my class. Now I don't need to pass any variable because I didn't create any constructor. So next my object dot my function one. See this one now. CLS So it is printing. So there is one more way, guys, to call these class variables in the instance method. For now, I'm just talking about only instance method. Unless once we step into methods, I will discuss about class and static also, how to call these variables as well. So either we can use class name dot and the variable name here, or else self dot. And what is the variable? Var. So there are two ways we can call these class variables in the instance method. Alright, guys. It is printing twice. So there are two ways we can call, or we can use these class level variables in the instance method. I'm talking about particularly in the instance method. Why means in the class method we have to use CLS. Here we used self, right? There we need to use CLS. That's why I'm telling particularly if we are calling or using this class variable inside the instance method, we have to use either class name or else self default parameter. Now it is printing both, right? Now we got the static variable, what it is. Now let's see other definitions. How can we access static variables? See, we can access, that means we can print the static variables either by class name or by object name. Now let's see. Here I use simply class name only, right? Now, if I want to print this class variable outside of the class, now this one I'm using only inside of the class only, but I want to print this variable outside of the class. For now, I'll just comment this one, guys. I don't want. So here also I'll just comment this line. See now, see the colors also get changing in the notepad. Now, how can I call this? Either object dot, what is the name? Var. In the instance also, we can call using object only. But see, I'll tell you one more difference over here. It is printing, right? Because we are using object dot. Suppose we have one more way. That is using class name. Don't get confused, guys. If you don't understand, just let me know. I'll explain you again. You're getting, so we can access, sir, why unit access means, yeah, now I will tell you. In the backend, when you're learning in the Django frameworks, we will create the fields for the database. So in the in Amazon database only, we will have username, product, and the price and the address. These details will be there, right? Now those details will be declared in the class level here. So in the class level, we'll declare and we will use this class into another class. So that's why I'm creating class level variables. Now you got to some point, right? Like where we can use these static variables in the database if we want to create some fields. So this is how you can declare the class variables. So how you can access means we can simply access this class dot variable. How I can use this class variable in another class means that we will discuss in the inheritance. For now, just keep it aside. See, we can access static variables either by class name or by object name. This is outside of the class. Now come to inside of the class, how it is. Inside of the class, we can use my class dot variable or else self dot var. This is in instance method. So accessing static variable with class name is highly recommended than object name, guys. Suppose if you are using this variable in another class, you have to call, or else like you have to use this way, class name dot and this variable. It's highly recommended, guys. It's just like, sir, why I can't use object? We can still use, but it is highly recommended if you use with class name. So how to access? If you're trying to access static variable with class name, then we can access directly with the name of the class. If we are trying to access with object name, then we need to create object, then we can access with object name. See, suppose here I'm just commenting object also. See, now just I create only 3 lines, guys. Here class and one variable and one print statement that is outside of the class. Now see, if I want to print this class variable, here it is simply class dot variable. But if I want to call this variable with object, then I have to create the object. Then I have to use this one. See, now it is like 5 lines, but earlier it was only 3 lines when you use this class name dot variable. See, if you are trying to access with object name, that means this one, with object name dot a variable, that is a class name, then we need to create object here. We created the object, then we can access the object name. Clear, right? How to create the class, like static variable or class variable. So for now, I'll just give this one as instance method, guys. Why? Because for class method and static methods, we have to use some decorator, guys. That's what I'm just giving. This instance method just simply commented one line. Now, you know already about local variables, right? Okay, for now, okay, where it is local variable, local I know, right? So if we have to create a like temporarily use of any variable, we can declare that into inside of the variable only. So the variable which we declare inside of the method is called local variable. Just for temporary usage, we can use this local variable. And local variable can access within the method only. We cannot access in outside of the other methods or like using class name, anything. Suppose, just take this example. Okay, just take this example. I'll just comment this because I need to give this file, right? So I don't want to remove anything here. Let me close everything. This one also is already there, right? Now I'm talking about the instance method and local variable. Now variable equals to this is local variable. I'm just giving same smells like same print statement. Now print var. So I'm just going to create one more function. Here I'm not going to create this one. Here I may try both print var and self also. Let's see. Now I'm going to create object equals to my class, because we're not creating any constructor. That's why you're not passing any values. Now let me call the functions. My function 1, here function 2. See, now will throw error because see, this one is local variable. This method is working fine. But see this one, when I call this function, name variable is not defined. That means this variable is only particular to this variable, that is called local variable. That is just like a temporary purpose we can use. So we can't call or like access this variable in another variable. That's why we have instance variable, right? So when you create any constructor, the instance variables also will be created, and we can use that in multiple methods. So this local variable is only for particular method only. So function will throw error. If I give like this, I think maybe you will remember easily. So this is about local variable, guys. Now let's see about instance methods. Now we have seen 3 types of variables, right? Like instance variables, static variables, or that is class variables, and local variables. Now let's see what is instance methods. Methods also 3 types: instance, static, and class methods. So what it is? Instance methods are the methods which act upon the instance variables. So this instance method we can use to call the instance variables inside a class. And instance methods are bound with instance objects. That's why called as instance method. That means, suppose these methods, let me create one function, guys. As ABC. I'm not sure, like I don't getting function. This is simply I'm just creating one function, guys. Here I'm declaring variable equals to Just see guys. Object equals to as ABC. Now object dot function one. Now tell me what type of function is this? We are not sure what type of function it is. Simply we created one function, but inside there is no self. That means it is not instance method for now. Now if I just simply run this. Function one takes 0 position arguments, but 1 was given. Where we are given? In the object creation was didn't given. Here also we didn't give anything. So that's why it is invalid, guys. So this instance method always prefers the self keyword. Getting my point, right? So whenever you are working with the class programs, like this type of programs, just give only instance methods, guys. That too only self. Don't give any function like this. It will throw error. And the first parameter for an instance method is always self variable, that is default one. And along with self variable, it can contain other variables as well. Sometimes if you want to add 2 variables, you can simply pass variable and comma. This one you can do that. So just like normal function now. Okay, let me create this one as also. Instant method intro. So now I'm just going to create a result. I'll print result. Less. Oh, sorry. Something is messed up. Okay, I'm not passing any variable here, right? Sorry. Yeah, it is working fine. So this is about instance method, guys. So you see the small differences between the method and constructor, what it is. Method means methods are used to perform operations or action. That means if we want to make any logics inside, that means we have to use methods only. Constructor are used to initialize the instance variables. So constructor, what we're using, we can simply creating that to instance. That means to create the instance variables only. And method name can be any name. So we can give any name to the any method. And constructor name should be only this one, guys. Here you can see. So constructor always should give only this name. Apart from that, we don't have any other names. Sir, I might give it means it will throw error. Just try that. Instead of NIT, if you just give some other words here, it will throw error. It will not throw error. It will take some other just normal function. I told you, right? Function names can start with either alphabet or like underscore, right? So now it will act like as just like normal method. So method we should call explicitly to execute. See, here I created one instance method, right? Now how to call this one? First create the object, then use the object to call the function. This methods we should call explicitly to execute. But constructor automatically execute at the time of object creation. So here, where we creating the object here itself, that is declaring or like creating, just remember that. So object creation time, the constructor will execute. So the next one is class method, guys. Sorry guys, yesterday I made small mistake in the class method to declare. For now, today I'll show you that. So class methods are the methods which act upon the class or static variables. Remember that static variables and class variables, right? So inside method implementation, if we are using only class variables, then such type of methods we should declare as class method, guys. Now let's see. So this is about instance method, right? Now let me create one more thing. As method intro. Yeah, okay. Now let's see. So I'm just going to create one class. What is that class method? So I'll just simply give like this. Okay. Okay, wait, I'll just give like this, guys. Then you'll just remember. Now I'm going to create one variable now. That is the class or static variable. That is variable instead of only y only variable, guys. Let me change that. Message. This one message equal to. This is class level variable. See how to create the class method. So for instance method, you don't need to specify anything, right? Above this here, see here, nothing we need to specify, right? Simply if you see any self, the first parameter in the function, that is called instance method. But to create a class method, we have to use @. This is called decorator. This one we'll discuss in the decorator chapter. For now, just remember how to create class method. This is the decorator, decorator class method. We have to specify that this is the class method. The function now, my function one, or else like my function class. That's like method, guys. Okay, I might here. Now again, one more thing here. For instance, we use self, right? For class method also we have one more variable, that is CLS. But get confused or like completely closing the books. CLS.message. Now see, earlier we have seen that how to call this static variable in the instance method, right? Like we can use class name dot variable or self dot the variable. Now in the class method, how I'm calling that using CLS dot variable, or else we can use class name itself directly. What is the class name? My class, sorry, class mate dot variable. So here we simply created one class and one static or class level variable. And here we are creating a class method. This is the decorator, guys. Just remember this is the decorator. And we are creating just normal function, but instead of that CLS. Now this is completely called class method. And print this variable. So that's why, see this definition. Instance method, sorry, inside method implementation, this one, see, inside of this method implementation, if we are using only class or static variables, if you're using only class or static variables, then such type of methods we should declare as a class method. So that's why, because I want to use this class variable, right? So that's why I'm using only class method, guys. Instead of you use instance, means what is the purpose of constructor then? So constructor means to create only instance variables. So this class method to access the class variable. So then only we can use this class method. Sir, I can't use instance method, means still we can use, but class method is refers to only class level variables. This is a good way to use these class methods. That's why we have three types of methods. One is instance and class and static methods. Now see, now how to create object. So I'm just going to how to call this one first of all. For instance method, we used object, right, to call the method. But this class method, we have two ways. Either we can create object or else we can create class name itself. So first I'll create one object, guys. Object equal to, what is my class mate? Now how to call this method? Object dot, what is the method? My function mate. See, it is between, why means here, see, we can call, like we can use this class level variable inside the class method in two ways, either CLS dot variable or class name dot that variable. And now see, how to call this method means we created object, and this is why, this is one way, right? Now let me comment this. So instead of creating object, if you have only class method in your class, don't create any object. Just use simply class name dot that method name. So now we have only class method, right? I might have 5 or 6 class methods also, but that I don't want to create any object. Simply use the class name itself. Now what is my class name? My classmate dot. What is the method name? My function. CLS. See, instead of creating object, simply I used class name dot function. How I'm calling the method. But instance method, if you try this one, you'll get error. Just try that. Don't create any object for instance method here. This one, this instance method, don't create any object. Simply call class name dot on the instance method. Just see whether you will get error or does it will execute. Just try that yourself today. Here, I'm just giving small assignment like don't create any object for instance methods and use class name to call the instance method. Just try this one today, whether you will get error or not. So this is about class method, guys. Sorry. Yeah. So class method is always used to call or like to use the class level variable, then only we can use this class method. Apart from that, there is no use of this class method, guys. Every time till now, most of the almost 90% I'm using only instance methods till now in my life. This class method are very rare. Okay, where is that? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, how to access class method. So we can access class method by using class name or object name. See, we have two ways, but instance, we have only one way, that is object creation. But try your side without creating object, just call the instance method with class name. Now let's see. This is the note. Class methods are rarely used methods in Python, guys. So now clear, right? What is the class method? So how to create this one? So we have a last method, that is static method, guys. In general, these methods are general utility methods. Sometimes this one we can use. You guys, you see this one. These are the desktop applications, right? So to create such type of applications, we can use the static method. This one I will give at the end of this. That is not part of our course, but still I will give a small 2 to 3 projects to how to create these desktop applications also. Not only website application, to create this desktop applications also, I will give that 3 projects almost. That time you will remember that, like how to use the static methods. For now, just see that. Sorry, guys. Yeah. In general, these methods are utility methods. We call it static methods are utility methods. And inside these methods, we won't use any instance or class variables. Here, we won't provide self or CLS arguments at the time of declaration. You see, instance method to declare, that means to create instance method, we have to use self. See here, this is the instance method. To declare class method, we have to use CLS. So this decorator plus class, this is the default variable. But static won't do anything. It will simply take this decorator, that is static method. Now let's see. Oh, I'll just comment this. After this class, I'll just create the complete one program using all these variables plus instance method, static, class, everything. We'll just see. Now, what is this one? Static method. Okay, static methods. Third, intro. Class my static met. Now see, I simply created one class, and inside of the class, I'm going to create the static method, right? How means first we have to give this at the rate again for class method. How we given, right? Here we have to give static method. This one. Then next, simply give normal function type. Don't pass any parameter inside either self or CLS. My static met. Now I simply created one class, and inside that I've created one static method. So this one, see this point. Here we won't provide any CLF or CLS arguments at the time of declaration. See, what declaration means, that is creation. While creating the static method, I'm not giving anything. And we can declare or create static method explicitly. That is by using static method decorator. This is the decorator, guys. Static method, that is the decorator. And we can access static methods by using class name or object reference the same way. See this second point. Inside these methods, we won't use any instance or class variables. We won't use anything. That's what I'm telling. We can use the static method while creating the desktop application. That time only we'll discuss that completely. For now, just see how we can create. Now, earlier, we have seen that how to create the object for this other classes. The same we will create object equals to third and object I'll show you two ways, both object wise as well as the using class name. So this one way, and using simply class mate dot my static. So here I'm just simply writing both ways. So how to call this static method or static function? We are not supposed to call a function in the class, so we have to call always methods only. See, it is printing twice. Why? Because here also we call static method and here also. So we have two ways, but instance methods only one way, that is object only. Apart from the object, we don't have anything. For class methods, we can class and static both accept either object or class name. See, this is about complete static method, guys. Now we have seen almost everything, right? We covered everything. Let me show you once. See, class, we have seen that documentation string. Simply, you can give any string, right? What is this program is telling about? Next, constructor, we have seen that. And variables, that is instance, static, that is our class level, and local variables we have discussed. And methods, instance method, static, and class, everything we discussed. Now let me write to complete program using all these now. Now my task is same way how we written this something, right? Like, let me take one list. Here, I need to divide. Like, let me take, instead of this one, can I take this one as range of 10? This one I will take, right? Now, what it will do, it will take from starts from 0 to 10. Now, I want to take even numbers in one list, positive, odd numbers in another list. Using this class, let's say, earlier we've seen that just normal sequential way and functional programming way, we've seen that. Now, let's see how we can use this class. Class small example. I'm just giving like this. Now, first what I need to do, I need to declare one variable. That variable name is anything. So that one I need to call in the instance method, right? That's I'll create as a, instead of that one, you can use this one both, right? Okay, let's see. I'll use as a class variable. Instead of instance method, I will use this one as a class variable. Variable equal to range of. Now I'll take 10. See. Constructor, let's see some other example we'll take. Now def function 1. Now this is self. This is because instance method. Now what is my requirement? I need to split this one into positive numbers and negative numbers, right? Now how I can do that here? What is my variable? Self dot. What is that variable? Now this one. So instead of that, directly I can use for loop, right? For loop I in, see here, self dot variable. Now this is valid. Why? Because this is a sequence again here, this one. The completely sequence, right? So simply how to declare, already seen that the class variables. What is that? Instance method. Somewhere I have written, forget. Okay, see this one. So how to call this class variable in the instance method? Either we can use self or class name. Here I'm using self. Next, what is my requirement? I need to split. So for next iteration, for now it is like just normal for loop. Now how it will work? Here I will take if. Here I is module of 2 equal to 0. Now before that, let me create two empty list, because I need to store two empty lists, right? That's why A equals to one empty list, B equals to one empty list. Now see, sorry, here A dot, if it is even number, just store that into A list. I, now else B, sorry, B dot append. What is the value? I. Now return both. Now you guys return, right? How we can return a number of parameters again. Now here what is the return? A comma B. Now you got understood, right? This simply what clears like one class, and here this is the class variable. So I'm declaring this class variable as instance method using self keyword or like self parameter. So this is one instance method. This comment guide, this is not decorated, this is just simply commented to. Now let me write the same code in the class. My class. Here CLS will take that part of. Now let me put the same thing guys, because the same I need to copy paste, right? So instead of self, we can use class name dot var or else CLS dot var we can use. Okay, instead of that one, okay, let it be for now. Static method. Let me try guys, one sec, my static method. Print, is it possible to create a list of var? I'm just trying guys, one sec. Now we have created everything, right? Now see, class and the class variable and instance method. Constructor, let it be, that will just keep aside. Now instance method and what we're doing is just simply dividing one even numbers and past like odd numbers. That is instance method, and the class method also we are just using that, and the static method and simply converting that range into list, whether it will take the class variable or not. You just want to confirm that. So now we have done everything. Our class creation is done. Now what step is object creation? Now object equals to, what is my class name? Small example. Small example. Now we don't have any constructor, right? So don't need to pass anything. See, now object dot function one. Without using object, I'll simply use class name to call the static as well as the class method without using object. My small example dot, what is my class method here? My class and static, okay. Small example. Dot my static method. Yeah, fine. Now see guys. Okay, one more thing. Here we have written, but we are not passing anything. So simply I'll just use print guys here itself. Instead of storing into another variable, I simply use print also. If you want to store into another variable, anyways, I will give this file, right? Just simply take out this print and create two variables as like c comma d equals to, just pass this function. But static method simply I'm giving print here itself, right? I'm not giving anything here. See now this one will give output or like error. Something is messed up. See here. If a static, it is not giving. So let me use class name dot. Less. Okay, this one is working fine. Static method is working fine. But apart from that, why these two are not working? Now let's see. Now we'll just up it, depend that. So before that, let me print this self dot var, what it is doing. Print cls dot var. It's giving a range of, okay. Anyway, it is working fine, right? This is good. Then why it is not printing? Let's see. If a range of self dot var, okay, it's working fine. Then through range 0 starts with this one, I value, okay. This one append, okay. This everything is fine. Okay. And now these are local variables only, right? Then what's the problem with this? Okay. Okay, instead of self variable. Okay, one sec, guys. Let me give this a range 0, 10 itself. Instead of using class, let me use this one. One sec. Again, you print the same thing. Okay, fine. Now it is time to debug. So range of the first iteration I values goes here. Print I. 0 is coming. Okay, I model of 0 is not equal to. Okay, then it will append. Okay, it's fine, right? Then what's wrong with this? Okay, let's start with 1. Okay, it is taking that only one value, but why is not range working here? I'm missing something else. Class. Okay, instead of return, let me print both a comma b. Sorry, a comma b. Okay. It's printing the functions. Okay, it is printing fine, but why it is throwing error? It's printing fine. Okay. Without directly giving here, it just gives self dot val, but still works. But why it is not giving output? So it is printing in this way. Okay, where is the print I? Okay, remove this. Looks interesting, guys. Okay, but why it is printing every time? Do I need to call in this function? Okay, hey, you found out why we are getting this one inside like multiple times. Any guess why you're getting error? Like not error, like why it is printing multiple times instead of one complete list like A, comma B. Any guess? Hi guys, why? Any guess, Anil, Tejashri? Like why it is printing multiple times instead of only this one? It is printing like each iterable. I placed the cursor also over there. Print always should be here, outside of the for loop. We are given the print inside of the in return also we are given inside of the for loop only. That's why it is giving only one value. You need to debug it. This is called debug. That means if you're getting some error or like if your program making some changes or like issues, this is the way you can debug. Now, is it fine now? So because earlier we given return inside of the for loop. That's why it is each iteration it is returning. That's why. So one more thing, guys. If you have any return keyword in your function, that will completely terminate that. If whenever the function reaches the return keyword, it will terminate that. That's why we're getting the output like still it's like zero, like empty list and like empty list plus 1 or 0, anything. Suppose here something like this. Return a comma p like this. Instead of we are getting here the complete list, right? But here see 0, 1 because whenever it reaches the return, it will terminate the complete function. That's why don't give anything after the return keyword. And in iterations also just be careful. Otherwise we have to make like debugging like this. Now we have done that. Now it is returning, right? But in the form of tuple. Why in the form of tuple means, see. Now internally this class method working like as a zip. Guys remember the zip, right? The predefined functions which we discussed, zip function. So it will iterate two sequences. So now it is form class method also working same like that. That's why see the complete list, but inside the tuple. Clear? So because of the small mistake, we were scratching our heads like anything. Okay, this is about the complete class, guys, like how to create a class and how to create an object and how to work with the different variables. Either it could be class or like instance or like local variables. And today I'll just give this complete file, just practice everything. Don't miss anything, just practice the complete file. Okay, anyway, the time is almost done. Okay, but tomorrow we're going to discuss about other topic that is inheritance, guys. For now, today just remember all these points, what I have discussed today, just practice the same file, what I'm going to give. Just change the variables. Then you will get to know, understand like how it is. And I think I've given a small assignment also, right? In the same way, just don't create any object. Just without objects, just call this instance method. Okay, any questions so far in this complete class, how to use this one? What is a class or static method or local variables, everything. So it clear, right? Then we'll wrap up this call for today. And but tomorrow, guys, I think by today evening or by tomorrow, I'm going to give the assignment till function chapter only what we have discussed. Just practice that and try to submit the assignment by before Monday. Our class starts at 3 o'clock. Just try to submit that. Just practice. If you don't get that also, just let me know. Anyway, Monday, first 15 minutes, I will explain that. What are the questions I'm going to give, right? I will explain that again. Where you're lacking, then you will get to understand. Okay, guys, then we'll catch up on Monday, the same time. Happy weekend. Bye, Anil and Kumar. Tejaswini.